Hello everyone, this is Kelly and welcome back to the Honeybee Stamps YouTube channel and day 4 of our sneak peeks into the Autumn Splendor release. All of these products will be available on August the 23rd. First up, we have a sentiment stamp and coordinating die. It reads, "Ghouls just wanna have fun." So cute for all of your Halloween cards. And the coordinating die makes it super easy to cut out that sentiment and then add it to an ink blended background, pop it up, give your card some dimension. You see it paired here with some of the images from the Trick or Treat stamp and coordinating die set. Next is a new classic size buzzword, and this is boo. You have trick or treat, just here for the boos, check your boo bees, you do you boo, too cute, so scary, to be scary, so much fun for your Halloween cards, whether it is for a kid or you want to make it a little more playful for your friends. There is a 3-piece coordinating die set. It's going to cut out that beautiful scripty font word boo. There is a basic shadow and then a larger shadow that has a pierced edge. Here you can see all of those die cuts all stacked up, and then the you do you boo as a fun and playful sentiment. Now next is that super cute stamp set that I keep talking about. This is Trick or Treat. You can see all those cute animals dressed up to go trick-or-treating. There's a little bear that's dressed up like Dracula. There's a little squirrel that's like a little devil, and a dog has a skeleton costume. There's a little kitty cat, and there's all sorts of little accessories to set the perfect little trick-or-treat scene. The coordinating die set is going to cut out every one of those images, so whether you want your card flat and just use the stamps, you can use those coordinating dies and pop up the images and just take a look at this cute trick-or-treat scene. You can see the trees used, a beautiful background, clouds and a moon, and of course those super cute trick-or-treating critters. Next is the Patchwork Pumpkin stamp and coordinating die set. You can see there to the top of that stamp set all the patterns that are going to make the most beautiful patchwork pumpkin. There's lots of extras as well, like the little pumpkin blossoms, the vines, 2 different stems, and there's also the "Hey There Pumpkin" sentiment. Now there are lots of options when using the Patchwork Pumpkin stamp and coordinating die set. So you can either use the dies and create just a 1-layer pumpkin. You can see you can make a 3-segment pumpkin and use 3 of your designs. You can cut out a simple 5-segment pumpkin and use 5 of the designs. Or you can layer all those pieces together along with the oval that you see there in the center to create a beautiful 3D layered patchwork pumpkin. Next is our Sweet Stacks rectangles. So these are A2 size, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it takes all the guesswork out of adding layers of cardstock to the front of your cards. So all you have to do is choose the size that you want and run that die and your paper through your die machine, and then you're all set to create the perfect layers for the front of your card. The smaller dies in this set are perfect for sentiments. Speaking of sentiments, this is our new Sentiment Frames die set. There are 6 dies in this set in different shapes and sizes, so you can find the perfect one to frame, layer, and make those sentiments really pop and stand out on the front of your cards. Next is the freebie for the Autumn Splendor release. This is called Be Young Well Wishes. We have a little boy here, so cute in his little overalls and watering can. Some great sentiments like wishing you well, for a good friend, feel better soon, and there's a couple little flowers. Now, as with all of our freebies, these are while supplies last. You will receive the stamp set with purchases of $75 or more. And with purchases of $100 or more, you will receive the stamp and the coordinating die set. Okay, so let's make a card with our new Patchwork pumpkin stamps and coordinating dies. So you can see I have each of the layers of that 3-layer pumpkin cut out. There's so many options. You can use pattern paper as I'm showing here. So cute with all the patterns and the mix of colors. You can use solid cardstock. Here I have cut out some orange cardstock and done some ink blending around the edges and just added a cute little stem, and you can see how cute all the little segments and layers of that patchwork pumpkin are. Or you can use the stamps, and I'm going to show you and make a card using the stamps and the coordinating dies for the patchwork pumpkin. So with those coordinating dies, there is a 5-segment pumpkin, there's a 3-segment pumpkin, and then there's the oval. And I'm going to start by stamping the oval first today. So I have these already die cut. I think it's easier to line up in my MISTI if they're already cut. I chose one of the center patterns, and I have that pressed down in my MISTI with the MISTI door closed. And I have chosen fall colors, kind of some fun mix of colors for my patchwork pumpkin. So this is scattered straw, and I'm going to stamp this several times to get that rich, creamy, yummy yellow, and then do just a little bit extra on this layer. So I'm going to go just around the edges with one of my Honeybee Stamps blending brushes, and that color is Spiced Marmalade. Now I use the brush so I can kind of control and tap it right around the edge, and the mix of that yellow and the orange are so great to add a little pop there for the center of the pumpkin. Now that I have the center done, I'm going to start working on the 3-layer, and I only need to stamp on the outside 2 segments because the inside oval is going to be covered up with the oval that we have already stamped. So I'm just picking out my patterns here. I have a plaid, and then I'm going to do a stripe on the other side, and I'm really getting down my head down by my desk, make sure everything's lined up nicely on that die cut, and then I'm just going to go ahead and stamp. And I've just chosen lots of fall colors, as I mentioned. So I have kind of a beigey craft color on one side, and that is a sagey green. And then I'm just going to move right along so I can peel that layer up there and show you that you don't need to stamp all the layers if you're going to make a 3D stacked pumpkin, because some of it is going to be covered up. Now I can stamp the outside layers of the largest die cut, which is the 5 segments, and I'm going to do a braided edge on one side, and I'm going to use an orange to kind of pull in some of the orangey, yummy fall colors. Get that stamped down and rubbed down. And then for the other side, I'm going to do green polka dots. So I'm getting everything lined up, just going to make sure that it all lines up in my MISTI, close the door, and then choose and pick up my ink, and then get all of it ready to go. Now I just close the door on my MISTI, and I think I end up stamping this several times to really richen up and darken up that green ink. And then I pull that out, and now it's time to see the fun part where I stack up my fun colored patchwork pumpkin and get everything ready to go and adhere together. Now, I don't want to forget the extras in the stamp set. So there is a stem, there are little vines and leaves, and then of course our sentiment. So I'm going to stamp each of these little pumpkin pieces in a different oxide ink. And one I do in a blue, one I do in yellow, so I'm just mixing it up. There's no coloring here for this card. I use oxide inks and those beautiful colors for everything, and then just die cut it out and add it onto a card base. So you can't get any easier than this. So there I'm going to stamp my yellow leaf, and then I'm going to do a little bit of blending on that stem to kind of mix the colors together. And I just do the vines and like a gathered twigs just to pull in a little bit of rustic brown. So I'm going to line up each of those coordinating dies and get them all taped down, and then they're ready to run through my die machine. Now for my card base, I'm kind of doing a a blue, kind of a dusty blue color, as you can see there, with a layer of Nina Desert Storm cardstock. So I use my Sweet Stacks dies, the rectangles, to create a layer for that. And now I'm just adhering with liquid glue all the layers of my pumpkin. So I have the largest die cut, or the 5-segment piece, on the bottom. I have the 3-segment piece in the middle, and then the oval for the top side piece. Now you could add dimension and pop these up with foam tape or foam dots. It's kind of whatever you want to do to make a cute 3D pumpkin. So I'm just going to add a little bit of rustic jute or twine there for just a little something. And then I'm adding those leaves, the blue and then the yellow. I can add all of those little vines. And then the pumpkin is really ready to add to the front of my card panel now. So I'm just going to pop that again with our Honeybee Stamps liquid glue right into the center of that card. And then last but not least, I can add my Hey There Pumpkin sentiment. So I'm just going to add that into the lower right-hand corner, and then my beautiful kind of fun colored patchwork pumpkin is all ready to go. Now here's a close-up look at that no coloring, only the use of oxide inks and all of those stamps to create a really fun design. Now this has been day 4 of the Autumn Splendor release. I hope you'll check out all of our design team members, the blog, and all of our social media. And again, all of this will be available at honeybeestamps.com on August the 23rd.